kumkaribisha Mheshimiwa Naibu wa Rais. Tafadhali nitaomba tuweze kuondoka. Please let us all be excited.
We gather here today on the back of recent events in the last 2 weeks in this country, which now more than ever validates the strategic focus of this government in pursuing job creation and income opportunities for our young people. While many challenges face young people today, undoubtedly the most acute challenge young people face in Kenya and in many parts of the world is the inability to access employment, jobs, and income opportunities. Among the number of unemployed people we have, over 60% are youth, many having no vocational or professional skills training. And this is what drives young people into crime and drugs and into a general state of hopelessness and despair. Unemployment is a problem that is not unique to Kenya. It deserves, and indeed it has, our immediate attention. The International Labour Organization World Employment and Social Trends Report of 2025 highlights that youth unemployment continues to be significantly higher than the adult unemployment rate. In some countries, youth unemployment is 3 or even 4 times higher than adult unemployment. The ramifications of this trend are far-reaching, affecting financial stability, mental well-being, and societal cohesion, and that has serious ramifications on the development of our society. The next century is going to be driven by technology. What this means, therefore, is that if we have to empower young people to realize their present and future dreams, technology must be at the heart of finding solutions to job creation and creation of opportunities. And therefore, IT companies like Huawei, you hold the future for young people, not just in Kenya, but around the globe. Because technology, especially IT, is going to be at the center of solving the problems of the world, including the problems around jobs and income opportunity creation. Some of in this city already, you know, one of the fairly good projects that have improved the face of the city is the expressway just outside here. It would not have been possible if there was no public-private partnerships, because it is private resources used to provide a public good, which ordinarily in the classical sense should have been the work of government to look for money to build an expressway. Through the same public-private sector, public-private partnerships, we are about in 2 weeks' time to launch the construction of a dual carriageway to the western part of Kenya, which could not again have been possible if we kept our traditional divisions between public and private sector. And we are thinking ahead and seeing and trying to see what else is it that we can do to improve that public-private sector partnership to provide jobs like we are doing here today, to as many young people as possible, to provide solutions for energy, to provide solutions for public infrastructure like roads, water also. The future of sustainable water infrastructure and water amenities being available, we have to bring in the private sector. So the broad for cooperation is beyond ICT and IT. It cuts across. And there are as many sectors as possible. When we are therefore reflecting on how do we as public sector enable private sector to help us converge our interests and speed up the development of Kenya and the development of the world. And therefore going forward, we will be engaging in this space. And I think the same way governments raise bonds, we could also allow private sector to place bonds and raise funds to provide public amenities. Instead of the private sector struggling with their own resources, they can use the protection of the public sector, governments, to be able to raise private bonds, to raise money, if that money is going to be used to provide a public infrastructure. So that's the way I see it, and therefore I thought I should speak about that in an occasion like this one, because it is no longer feasible that we do things the way we've always done them. If we have to create enough jobs for our young people, if we have to offer national solutions around infrastructure, energy and water and so forth and health, we must think outside the box. And going into the future, technology, people, especially the youth, and partnerships will drive us into the desired world that we want to see in the next century. God bless you. Thank you for listening. The people and how they use technology is going to be an increasingly important variable of shaping the progress of the world into the next century. And as we look at the people as a variable, we are looking at different population dynamics around the world. And Africa remains at the center of the future of the world, because Africa today is the youngest continent. The average age of the population in Africa is 19 years. Other parts of the world are not as fortunate, because the average ages in Europe, in Asia, and other places is much higher. And since the people are going to be an important variable in defining the future success of the world in the next century, and not just the people, but young people, especially young people, then Africa then lies in the square of influencing the future of the world. Partnerships are going to become increasingly important going forward. We are coming from a history of a dichotomy between the public and private sector. Something is either public or private sector. There are things that the public sector must concentrate on. There are things that the private sector should concentrate on. That division is increasingly getting blurred for various reasons. And I dare say that this blurring of the public-private sector divide is irreversible. It's not going to change anytime soon. And governments, including the government of Kenya, have come to accept the reality that going forward, as we solve our national problems. We are not adequate as public sector to give all the solutions that the country needs. We need the private sector. We have tested and received positive feedback that the closer ties between the public sector and the private sector can drive Kenya's progress faster, and we can reach to our desired destination earlier, faster, and with less difficulties if we leverage on working with private sector in partnerships.
Ladies and gentlemen, we conceived this event in 2023 in response to the growing appetite for job opportunities across Kenya. It was clear that there was a need for a platform that directly connects skilled professionals with a forward-thinking organization across various industries. At the Nation Media Group, we remain committed to creating these platforms through both events and impactful content, because we firmly believe that the youth are not just the leaders of today, of tomorrow, but the leaders of today. It is our belief, Your Excellency, that we have intentionally invested, that it is with this belief that we have intentionally invested in a diverse portfolio of youth-focused initiatives aimed at empowering, inspiring, and elevating the next generation. Over the years, we have run a number of youth-centered programs, including CB Connect, My Network, the High Schooler, Teen Republic, G3, and The Trend. And some of these are very popular on the screens, if you watch them, sir. We also have columnists who are Gen Zs, which is just aimed to deepening our connection with the younger audiences. And we are getting very many impressions about this particular event.
A report published in December last year estimates there are around 1.9 million people employed in digital and digitally enabled jobs in Kenya today. Of course, estimates suggest that there are around 330,000 ICT professionals working in Kenya today. This is already great progress, and I'm optimistic for the future, where we will continue to play our roles in providing the ICT and digital power infrastructure to support this growth, as well as providing the infrastructure for digital jobs. While we directly employ hundreds of Kenyans, we also worked with our business partners and constructors to indirectly provide thousands more. Just as importantly, while we believe that the good quality skills and training for the current and future workforce is critical, especially ICT-related skills.
China has valuable experience in using technology and education to drive development, and we are pleased to share with our African and Kenyan friends. Today, the digital economy is reshaping industries around the world, and Kenya is embracing this transformation with energy and ambition. Chinese companies such as Huawei are working closely with Kenyan partners to provide training and employment in areas like network engineering, cybersecurity, software development, and artificial intelligence. These efforts echo the joint statement's vision to deepen cooperation in digital economy and emerging technologies, while empowering Kenyan youth to thrive in a more innovative and technologically advanced future.
Chinese companies are deeply invested in employment and training. For example, KEDA Ceramics has invested over $120 million directly employing 4,000 Kenyan workers and indirectly creating over 50,000 jobs. Huawei trains around 6,000 students annually through programs like Seeds for the Future and the ICT Academy, while supporting 100 local lecturers and offering internships. AVIC International has equipped 154 vocational institutions and trained over 300 instructors benefiting more than 50,000 youths with technical skills. In the year 2022 to 2023 alone, Chinese companies employed over 60,000 Kenyans with localization rates exceeding 90%.
So we train them, make sure they have skills, and then we retain almost 90% of them. The rest that will not be retained, we'll send them to our partners and other telco companies. Yes, so we've been doing it for that long. Yes, thank you.